clubs. Oh, good. And the 4 priorities that we'll listen to today and learn from are increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. These 4 priorities overlap each other. In developing strategies for engaging members, we need to ask our members what they want. Reach out to those members you haven't seen for a while, conduct a membership survey, offering new ideas, sharing our stories, celebrating our successes, in looking at new ways to meet, in striving to mirror our community in our club membership. Those are just a few of the things that will be discussed today. At PETS earlier this year, your club's president-elect put together an action plan for your club. I encourage all clubs to review their action plan. I encourage you to have open and ongoing discussions about how to shape the future of your club. Then use those talks to shape your own strategies. And ask your members why. Why are they Rotarians? Why did they join, and what keeps them engaged now? And remember President Shaker's initiative. Each one bring one. If your members are engaged, they will each one bring one. You've all been provided with an action plan document so that you can fill in ideas throughout the morning. Use it. So let's get all aboard with Rotary and serve to change lives. Jeff, you're on. There, Jeff.
Thank you, Anita.
You're welcome. Action plan. There we go.
All right. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
All right. Great. Well, good morning and welcome to the 2021 Virtual Vibrant Club Workshop. As Anita said, I'm Jeff Gabriel, your District Governor-elect from the Rotary Club of Bishop Sunrise. And let me take a little time to expand more on what District Governor Anita has shared with you during her welcome. What is a vibrant club? What is the action plan? What does the leadership training workshop mean to me and to you and your Rotary Club? Our hope is that when you end today's leadership training session, you will have the answers to those questions. And let me share a little bit more of how and why Rotary International developed this revolutionary action plan to increase and engage Rotarians around the world. We encourage all members to review the action plan, think about your own club and district goals, and find meaningful ways to align those goals with Rotary's plan. Have open, ongoing discussions in your club about the new priorities and objectives, and then use those talks to shape your own strategies for your club. We are certainly doing that at the district level as well. We all have different stories about what brought us to Rotary and what keeps us in Rotary, but we all share a common bond. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Individually and collectively, we are people of action. And as people of action, we know that fulfilling a vision requires a plan. Whenever any of us face a big challenge in our professional or personal lives, we don't tackle it without first being prepared. We're the ones who say we need a plan. And this is equally important. We are the ones who bring everyone together to make that plan and put it into action. This workshop today is about our plan for Rotary's future, because we know that there's a big gap between who we are as an organization today and who we need and want to be. To begin your plan, we must first gaze into the mirror, asking the hard questions and making meaningful self-assessments. Rotary International conducted a series of focus groups and surveys and asked more than 1 million members, leaders, and Rotary participants across the world to share their input with Rotary. Rotary's international goals were shaped by the feedback of those who know us best. and who already share our commitment to achieving our vision. We learned that our members thought we needed to become more nimble, more open to new ideas and faces, and better about capitalizing on changing technologies and trends. But we knew we also had to look outside of Rotary. Here's what we found out when we surveyed the general public in 2015. We talked to people in 15 countries around the world. We asked what would motivate them to join a service organization. And here's what they told us. A sense of purpose and opportunity for community service, causes that are important to them, an established reputation, a strong heritage, programs that make a difference locally and globally. Sounds a lot like Rotary, doesn't it? We asked if they had heard of Rotary and found out that our global awareness is outstanding. In fact, 3 out of 4 people surveyed were aware of Rotary. Among the world's leading social service organizations, we're in the top 3 in terms of awareness. And people know enough about us to know that we do good in the world, but we do have some challenges. Most had only a vague idea of exactly how we do good in the world. Only 35% saw Rotary as an organization for people like them. And just 25% of people surveyed said they knew someone in Rotary. All of us here know how this is playing out in real life. Membership has dropped as much as 18% in North America and elsewhere. We set a record in 2018 for the number of people who left Rotary. We have made some strides to turn the tide on membership, but we need to build on those successes because we are Rotarians. As we move closer to polio eradication, we wonder, what are the news stories that we will help ignite us, motivate us, and tell the rest of the world about our impact? Where is the next generation of leadership coming from? We're in the midst of a huge demographic shift, but while the rising generations share our passion for community and for making a difference, they have plenty of other places to go to channel that passion, on their phones and in the real world. That holds true for our current members in Rotary. And how do we keep them from losing the Rotary love? So here's where we are today. We're the undisputed pioneer of service leadership, grounded in person-to-person connections. And yet we find increasingly people are not coming to us to make those connections. I know this isn't easy to hear, but I have some good news though. There is a plan. And since we're people of action, it makes sense that this plan is called the Action Plan. It's a plan that is clear-eyed about the challenges Rotary faces. It acknowledges the difficulty conversations we've had at Rotary and must continue to have. Our action plan offers the framework and space to surface and address potential disconnects between the goals and the needs of clubs and districts and zones and headquarters. Change is hard. The action plan helps guide us and will achieve this. It draws on the remarkable capabilities we've developed in our own professional lives and careers. Above all, the capacity to listen, to learn with others. It respects that younger generations have different expectations about how to spend their time, who to spend it with, and what motivates them. And our action plan encourages us to use our collective global imagination to bring fresh ideas to the forefront. As a Rotary leader, you've been entrusted with a pivotal role of encouraging buy-in for your club's plan and helping your club realize its priorities over the next few years. A tremendous legacy for the leaders and generations who will follow you and your club members. It has 4 priorities, as District Governor Anita announced and shared with you earlier. Each priority is a reflection of the input, feedback, and hopes of current and former members, leadership, Rotaractors, alumni, youth exchange students, and Rotary staff. In all, we have reached out to more than 1 million people who are connected to Rotary in some way to ensure that our action plan priorities are the right ones and are authentically Rotary. The 4 priorities Rotary developed for the Vibrant Club Action Plan are increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. Now let's look at each one in a little more detail and some of the ways we'll turn these priorities into action. To my fellow Action Plan champions, thank you for your dedication to Rotary. Together, it's carrying us through the Rotary's vision of a better world, and let's show the world what it means to be people of action.
Well, thank you all for being here today. Thank you, District Governor Anita and District Governor-elect Jeff, for setting the stage so beautifully for us. Welcome to our first session, which is Increase Our Impact. So as you saw our vision earlier, it is through meaningful, impactful projects that we really achieve our vision. We are looking to increase the capacity and well-being of people and communities. Now, when we talk about impact, we're referring to long-term effects. For example, you have a literacy project, and beyond counting the books distributed, the number of children read to, the number of teachers trained, did the literacy rate improve? We're looking for significant outcomes. We're also encouraged to focus our efforts, not spread ourselves too thin, so that the projects we choose to do, we do very well and successfully. This is a short message that you may have heard before from immediate past trustee chair, RI past president Ravi, speaking about our ultimate goal of transforming lives.
Once upon a time, our goodness could only be measured in vague perceptions of public opinion. Today, we want to know the real impact of our act of charity, what it has done to the community. So we need to create projects that do more than just make us feel good that we did a project. Our project must change lives. This is not about dollars. It never was. This is about lives and changing lives.
Such a great message there, because projects with impact do, in fact, change lives. So how can we increase our project impact? Well, you see a number of the steps here. We know that measuring and sharing the impact of our work attracts people to us as members, as supporters, as partners. So I want you to take a minute and think about your most successful, impactful service project. And let's take a look at it via a short poll. I'd like you to scroll down to, let's see, Robin, let's launch that. There we go. Scroll down so that you can see all 8 statements. We used a needs assessment to determine and design our project. We had elements of sustainability. Our members were very engaged. New club leaders emerged as a result of our project. We had measurable outcomes. We evaluated success. We were able to document, describe, and share the impact of the project. Our project attracted new people. So take a moment, please, and select an answer to each of the statements. Give everybody a few minutes here. This is the interactive part now. Please vote. Looking for a few more of you to click. There we go. A few more folks. So it's interesting to think about these different elements, isn't it? Okay, let's try to get a few more. Okay. I think Robin will go ahead and close and share the results. Let's see. Okay, well, excellent. So 65% of you said that you did use a needs assessment. That's wonderful. And 82% with elements of sustainability. Wow, 94% with members engaged. New club leaders emerged, quite a number here too. Created measurable outcomes. Wow, this is wonderful. Evaluated success. And look at that, 47% felt that your project attracted new people to the club. Well, that is excellent in numerous categories. And we still have probably a few ways to use data to strengthen our projects and share the story. You know that successful, effective projects have broad benefits for our members as well as our communities. So, as mentioned, one of the very first steps is determining needs. Use the diversity of your membership and your various connections in the community to really reach out and determine significant needs. Ones that your club can address either by yourself or in partnership. And a great resource is the Community Assessment Tools Manual, which was included in your handouts. It's also on our district website and the RI website. It has a description of, as you see here, 6 different ways to assess the pros and cons of each one, examples, great tips, including the stakeholders to consider in reaching out. The wonderful thing about needs assessment is that not only will it identify needs, it will also identify resources, financial, human, and organizational, and the strengths that you have to build on. It will also help you understand the dynamics of the community and the beneficiaries. So we created this little form, which you may have seen, to help record your assessment efforts. If your club applied for a district grant this year or last, you noticed that you were asked how you identified your project. So for those of you who have done needs assessment, what did you do? How did you go about doing the assessment itself? If you want to raise your electronic hand, we can call on you if you would like to share what you did. A number of you said you used a needs assessment, so let's hear how you approached it. Not seeing anybody yet. You can also type into the chat pane. All righty. I think a large percentage of you indicated you use needs assessment. So let's share just one approach. Let's see, do we have somebody in chat? Let me see here.
I just posted the links
the
to
link.
the needs
Okay,
assessments, but I'm not seeing any hands raised.
I'm not either. So
It's a quiet group this morning.
Yeah, it's a quiet group, you guys. We're going to have to liven things up here a little bit. So you could have used reaching out to various community organizations, other nonprofits, your schools, input of your membership. I know that a lot of us really began this process with COVID-19 related projects. Let me see if I have, okay.
We do have a couple in chat.
Okay, thank you. Informal assessment and needs of the community. Chess is reporting she had a homeless interest, so she contacted the mayor. And again, reaching out to other organizations who supply needs to the group that maybe you're interested in or the topic. So your assessment will also help identify partners. So going back to your most successful project again, did you have a partner organization? And if so, how did you find them? And before I go there, Tom, you had your hand up earlier, so please go ahead.
I was just going to say that our needs assessment kind of came through the back door, where there was an article in the local paper talking about the food bank, our local food bank, having shortages of food to support the people who are having difficult times through COVID. So the needs assessment doesn't necessarily, it can be something that comes to you, not something that you generate. So something to bear in mind.
Excellent. That's a very, very good point. So let's talk quickly about partners. If you had a partner on your project, please raise your hand, your electronic hand. Okay, Doug. So you had a partner, and how did you find them?
Well, Tom might be able to answer how we found them, but I was thinking about our mask giveaway and that type of thing, and we found a partner who was making masks and was looking for a way to distribute them. So they were our partner. We formed a partnership with them, and that has continued.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And Jeff, what about you?
I'll just add real quickly that your partners can be within. Our partner was Grocery Outlet, which I'll cover in my part, but is a Rotarian who owns the Grocery Outlet and stepped up. So
Great, thank you. So anyway, it's important to think about partners because they leverage our resources and of course they extend our reach. So once you've got your project identified, what are your goals and desired outcomes? Are they measurable? And do you have the data you need? So what is data? Well, actually, it's not this guy, but it's facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis. Now, data can not only help us share the impact of our projects, it can help us replicate and scale up effective projects. So think about your outcomes, determine what you want to measure, and what you need to do to collect that information. I love this quote because it says, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. You may be very familiar with data and analysis in your work life, but extending that to Rotary is new for many of us. An excellent resource is our Global Grant Monitoring and Evaluation Plan supplement, which was also included in your handouts. Although it was designed for global grants, it gives some good examples of types of measure and evaluation tools. Beginning with the end in mind is a very effective strategy. So determining the data, developing your measurable outcomes, gathering your baseline data, and then evaluating against it are essential steps in being able to document success. And notice that your data may be qualitative or quantitative. So here's a look. Quantitative data is expressed in numbers and measurements. Qualitative data is expressed in descriptive terms. Qualitative data is often collected by direct observation, interviews, surveys, recorded experiences, things like that. Qualitative data often speaks to the why of quantitative data. So let's take a look at a middle school project. You've identified a need for addressing bullying and negative behavior on the campus. So the goal might be to create a more positive, supportive school culture by providing training in conflict resolution and team building. What type of data might we collect? Please raise your hand or type into the chat box. What kind of data could we potentially collect about this topic? This is again the interactive part. Think about what kind of data could we collect. Kathy? You can unmute, please. Kathy, are you able to unmute?
There, did I get
There
it?
yeah.
You did.
Okay. Number of kids bullied.
Okay, great. So that is something to be measured. Excellent. Anybody else have an idea? Thanks, Kathy.
Uh,
Kim.
Jess,
Oh, okay. and Chessa has one in here. Suspensions or withdrawals, grades, excellent. Kim?
Mine was along the lines of Kathy's, which was number of fights, number of conflicts between students in the school.
Excellent, thank you. So that's, the kind of thought process that we need to go through. So here are a couple that I thought of. Let me click my screen here. Whoops, did I just skip that? There they go. So here are a couple of ideas that I had thought of, similar to what you were saying. Reports that would document negative behavior incidents, and then maybe surveys or interviews with teachers and students to document feelings about school atmosphere and culture. I see another one here, ages of the kids that are being bullied, activity on the playground, again, referrals to the principal. So these are all ways that of data that we can collect. Now, of these two that I have on the screen, one is qualitative and one is quantitative. So just to review, quick poll to determine which is which. So Robin, if you would launch that. So the first one, disciplinary reports, qualitative or quantitative? And the second one, surveys or interviews, qualitative or quantitative? Great, give a few more minutes, everybody vote. Give you all another minute here. It's early, we've got to get warmed up.
And I have a cold. So.
Okay, all righty, well, let's go ahead and end that and share the results. And it's interesting, isn't it, to think about. So the disciplinary reports that are measuring number of incidents, those would actually be quantitative. And surveys or interviews, those things are our qualitative ones. And both types of data are important. So think about both kinds when you are thinking about the data that you can collect and creating those baselines. Okay, let's stop sharing that. And now we're going to move to measurable outcome. So what we'd like to do now is head into small groups for just 5 minutes and create 2 measurable outcomes. Again, our goal is to improve the school atmosphere and culture, provide some training in conflict management and team building. Take 5 minutes, identify someone to report out, and let's head into breakout groups and develop 2 measurable outcomes for this project. Great, welcome back, everybody. Here they all come. All righty, so I'm going to ask those of you who are reporting out to raise your electronic hand so that you come to the top of the screen here and share with us 1 measurable outcome. So Walt, you're up first.
What we decided to do is we wanted to make sure before and after that the measurable that the survey is exactly the same, so we're not comparing apples with oranges. And we wanted to more or less survey the principal, the teachers, the aides, and the students that are on the school campus, and basically come up with some kind of measurable results that we can compare before and after numbers with. And I believe that was
good. We'll give thank you. Good job. And that's really important, the baseline, and then being able to see that you've moved the needle. Karen, your group.
Great. Thanks so much, Wynn. We also talked about having that baseline information and maybe looking at 2 years of previous data from the principal to see if we can find what the baseline would be. And then Kathleen also, that was from Chessa, and Kathleen also suggested the number of students that might be going to the principal to report bullying that's happening. And then also going into the PTA and seeing if we could get some information, some data from them about where parents have seen bullying
Ah.
happening, and then maybe pull some of those parents for an interview so that we can also have some
Excellent.
qualitative data.
Thank you. So excellent and really wonderful to kind of expand into the parents and their impressions. Well, great job, everybody. As you work with your project design, also think in terms of how to evaluate longer term sustainable outcomes. This is much more challenging, but that is our ultimate target, remember, projects that transform lives and communities. So one last element we want to talk about, very important, and that is member engagement. Will your project enhance engagement, provide a rewarding experience, and add value to your members' experience with Rotary? So let's think about that. How could you determine that? What data could you collect? How are you going to determine this? This is another raise hand program. Okay, Doug, thank you.
I think when doing a survey at the next club meeting after the project is over of the club members to find out if they felt engaged, they felt it was worthwhile, they felt it should be a project that they could repeat. And maybe have them rate the value against other projects that they've done in the club.
Oh, that's a great idea. And it really gives you a lot of good information for planning your next projects, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Chessa, you had your hand up, and then Jerry. So Chessa, you were.
Yeah, Doug kind of said what I was thinking of, but I was also thinking that it would be helpful if we could stay engaged with the teachers, because I think they're the ones that know the impact of what bullying does as far as distressing a student, so it makes it harder for them to learn. That peer influence can be so strong, both positively and negatively. So I think we maintain a contact with the parent and the teachers, so they're the observers of student reactions and long-term impacts.
Great, thank you. And that brings value to our members too, doesn't it? Staying with something for the longer term. Jerry, you disappeared, but your hand was up. Jerry Hall.
Well, Gwen, if you can hear me, I will digress just a moment. In our school district, we have 64,000 children in the school district. So getting into schools is very, very difficult. But I was describing in the breakout a project that we got involved in that we could fund with the help of the district, and we were able to make a difference with homeless children's lives. It's a program called Children in Transition that is run by the intervention department at the school district. It's a federally mandated program with no funding. So every dollar we put in there, we were able to track students going to a Boys and Girls Club after school. We had tutors in there to help the students with the work, and then they got a warm meal before they were transported back to their home, which was the homeless center or someone's sofa. So we were able to track that, and we did that for 3 years, and we were at the $7,500 funding level from the club. And so that's one way to fund a program, but we could not get our members involved and engaged in it because of school district rules. But that shouldn't stop us from helping those that need the help. I guess that's the point I wanted to make.
Right, absolutely. So there are some barriers periodically, aren't there? But the project, and probably you're sharing the impact of it, did connect with the members. So Walt, one last comment on this one. How are you going to figure out about your members and whether this is a project important to them?
I was kind of going along, Jerry Hall's following his lead there. It'd be nice if we could somehow reach out to the parents of the bullied children and get the information to see if there's some kind of improvement there. That would, to me, would be really where the rubber meets the road.
Yes, and provide that longer term. Thank you all so much. Well, whatever the projects we take on, it is important to think about your members. Part of needs assessment, in fact, is figuring out, do your members, are they enthusiastic about this project? Are they wanting to volunteer for it? Do they want to support it? And then building in elements of the project that do add value, whether they are leadership opportunities or just opportunities to expand their personal connections to other parts of the community. All of those things do, in fact, make a great difference. And having your members excited about a project is very important to its success. Now I'd like to take a look at a project, a multi-year project that comes to us from District 5030, David Bobanek, who many of you might know. The owner of the Elk Run Farm Golf Course sold roughly half of it to the local school district to build a new high school. The remaining 9 holes of the golf course were designated for housing, but then there were several acres of land that were not buildable, and the owner reached out to Rotary First Harvest, which is a District 5030 project working to get fresh produce into the hunger relief system. So Rotary First Harvest enlisted local Rotary groups and the leadership team of a coalition of local hunger relief organizations to explore how a project might be developed. And they began with a community needs assessment. So they are in South King County, and the needs assessment process highlighted several critical needs and issues related to hunger relief, as you see here. So they took these, and the project was designed and became an extensive partnership between the local Rotary clubs in South King County and organizations that address equitable access to healthy food, promote sustainable urban agriculture, and new markets for local produce. So the produce that was grown at Elk Run Farm is distributed through the South King County food banks to people in need, and also to people living in areas where access to fresh, healthy food is very limited. As you can see here, the Elk Run Farm Project brought together many Rotary, Rotaract, and Interact clubs, Rotarians, and the district to solve a very important community need. The South King County Food Coalition provided project management. Funding was from the Rotary clubs, also foundation funding through district matching grants, local foundations, individuals, and the King Conservation District. If I can grab my little thing there. So there were a number of measurable outcomes. Some immediate, shorter term included just the new amount of produce, 400,000 pounds produced for local food banks. The involvement of numerous volunteers, the successful partnership between multiple organizations, which leads into the longer term outcomes and contributions to sustainability. So creation of programs at the local schools, participation in the high school transition intern program. This is a program that provides an additional 3 years of job and life skill training for 18 to 21-year-olds. And these interns, part of their work is at Elk Run Farm. And from there, we begin to move into elements of impact. So improved health for food bank clients who add nutrient-dense produce into their diets. Better school performance for children who are receiving that nutrient-dense produce. The Elk Run Farm Transition Program interns graduated into full-time employment. There was new curricula and programs in student leadership development, food systems, and social justice, developed in partnership with the local school districts. And then Highline College made Elk Run Farm a keystone of its new food system degree program. As David Bobanek stated, the long-term outcomes and impact can be more difficult to measure, such as improved health for food bank clients. However, these are the important longer-term markers or success for success and continued improvement. So while additional data could even better document the long-term outcomes and impact, this multi-year project did have an impressive and lasting contribution to the community. So what I'd like to do now is break us into small groups again and consider what we might learn from the Elk Run Farm project. So for example, how did it provide value and to whom? How can impactful projects support vibrant clubs? What are some things that you might take away from this project and think about in your own service projects? You're going to have about 10 minutes to talk about this. Please, again, identify someone to report out who will be able to share just probably one short discussion point. And Robin, let's go into breakouts. All right, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had an interesting and vibrant discussion in your breakouts. So if you are the person reporting out, I'd like you to raise your hand, please, and just share one comment from your discussion so we give everybody a chance. Okay, Tony, let's begin with you.
So lucky me. Oh, I'm already on. Actually, it wasn't my thought. It was Chessa's, but she asked for me to report on it for our group. And she said that in Reno, they have a program called Soulful Seeds. And it's for growing like community. Well, we ended up talking about community gardens, and then that led into possibly teaching the homeless to have an area that they could grow their own food and give them a skill set to learn how to take care of themselves with more nutritional food. And it just we just kind of grew from there. And we had a really, really great discussion and came up with some great ideas.
Wonderful. And having those more expansive and impactful outcomes is just great.
Yeah, and it involved so many groups in the community. So that was a very, very good idea.
Yes, and another great thing that was demonstrated with the Elk Run Farm project. Thank you. Okay, I think there was somebody, but now Bertie, looks like you're up next.
Sure. So we had a great discussion too in our group, and I think that one of the things that came up was how a project like, we talked about how does it provide value and to whom, not only to the participants of the food program and the interns and the college students going forward, but the community at large, bringing it together and having a common purpose for the whole community to really feel like they're making a difference for their community members and for the people. And I think that is propels itself to go forward into the future. And the other thing is, in terms of how it supports vibrant clubs, is that it really gives you the purpose for your Rotary Club. It's why you exist and why you come back, and let's do more and make this difference. You feel the difference you've made in people's lives, and that can attract new members who want to be part of something impactful like that as well.
Thank you. Great job and great summary. Kathy, let's hear one comment from your group.
We had a great discussion, and one of the comments we had was that it also, to help support vibrant clubs, and value, it gives a boost to Rotary in the community. It puts Rotary out there so everybody sees a really good project and what's going on and the value. And that led us into some discussions what we could do in our area.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And thank you so much. Anita, we've got time for just a quick sound bite from your group.
Changes lives. I think that was the one major thing that we noticed, that it really changed lives.
Thank you so much. And thank all of you. And I hope you did enjoy your discussion, because by focusing on impact and significant outcomes, we really are able to create projects that transform lives and communities. And these projects engage our members in meaningful ways, provide value, leadership opportunities, and even the chance to use our own expertise and diverse perspectives to develop innovative solutions. And these transformative projects can attract people who also want to make a lasting difference. So I'd like you right now, please, to take a moment and jot down a few notes in your plan, your club plan. This is our first priority, increase our impact. So a few things that you can take away and bring home to think about in your upcoming projects. Give you just a moment to do that.
If they don't have it handy, the link is in the chat
Link
box.
is in the chat if you don't have it, and this is writable, or if you printed it out ahead of time, of course, paper notes are good too. So in just a moment, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and then our second session, expand our reach with District Governor-elect Jeff. I want to thank you all for being part of this session today and sharing your ideas, and let's go out and have an impact, transform lives in our communities, and of course, in ourselves. Thanks so much.